Hi, welcome back to Feel Food Factor. Today I'm here to show you a grandma style recipe which is a fried idli. So for this fried idli with a twist, I'm adding some rice rava to this. All you need to do is just wash the rice rava and add some water and soak it for around 2 hours. After soaking it for 2 hours, just discard that water and see the rice rava is soaked pretty well. Now I'm going to add already fermented idli batter to this. So I just made simple idli batter, which is 1 cup of urad dal and 2 cups of idli rava. I soaked the urad dal, grind it into a paste and fermented it overnight with the idli rava. So I'm adding this to the rice rava mixture. This makes the fried idli very crispy, and the reason I'm soaking it well along with the idli batter is because it kind of gives a binding to the fried idli that we're going to make today. So in our traditional language we call it ginne roti. So now what we do is just mix it up with some salt very gently, because we don't want the aeration to escape, and leave it for 1 hour and see the bubbling started already. And now I'm going to take a thick heavy bottom pan. Earlier days my grandmother used to cook it in copper or brass vessels, but nowadays it's not available. So I'm adding some oil to this pan. So there you have to add the oil generously. So I added about 6 tablespoons of oil. And now when the oil is hot and fuming, that's when you're going to add the batter that we just made it. And be careful while you're adding the batter to the oil, because the oil is super hot and it tends to kind of send fumes to your hands, and your hands might get burnt. So be very careful. And after adding the batter, spread the batter with a spoon or a ladle, so that if there are any air bubbles inside, it helps cook the fried idli perfectly. So now leave the gasket on the pressure cooker's lid. Do not put the weight at all. So this needs to be cooked on a very low flame, and also it takes about 40 minutes to cook. So in between, when it was 30 minutes, I checked it if it was cooked. So I just pierced a spoon inside, but it still needs about 10 more minutes of cooking. So now after 45 minutes, this is how my fried idli looks like. So it's nice and crispy on the outside, so it's like golden color, and the top is also completely cooked, steam cooked. So this is a very fluffy idli. So now immediately switch off the flame and transfer the pan onto your countertop. So what I did was I just folded a towel and placed the cooker on the towel, so that all the heat of the cooker goes, is transferred into the towel, and it does not burn the bottom. So after it is cooled down quite good, where you can handle it easily, that's when you remove it. And my son is all ready to cut the idli cake. He calls it an idli cake. Yeah, so he's cutting it, and we had this for lunch today. So along with this fried idli, we also had 2 types of chutneys. One is coconut and peanut chutney. So for this, I've taken 1 cup of coconut, like freshly grated coconut, a handful of peanuts, handful of fried chana dal, and then green chilies, curry leaves, mustard, jeera, hing, and oil. And also I have added salt to this while grinding. So now I'm heating a pan, added some oil to it, and I'm going to fry the peanuts until they change color slightly, like once they turn yellowish. So after you see them turning color into a slight yellowish color, that's when you're going to add green chilies. So this gives a very typical flavor to your chutney if you fry the peanuts and green chilies. So after they are fried, just keep them aside, switch off the flame and keep them aside. So now in a mixing jar, I've added the roasted chana dal and also the shredded coconut. This is fresh coconut. And after the peanuts and green chilies are cooled down, I'm going to add them to this coconut mixture. And now I'm going to add some salt to this. So after adding salt, I'll add a little bit of water. See, yeah, I'm adding salt now. So now goes in water little at a time, and I'm going to make it at a smooth paste. You can check the consistency. Okay, now I'm adding tadka. So for the tadka, I'm adding the mustard seeds in hot oil and let them dance for a minute. And after that, I'm going to add in the jeera, the cumin seeds. So after the mustard seeds and cumin seeds are fried well enough, I'm going to add hing. So by adding hing, you will get a very nice aroma and a nice flavor. So once the flavors are released, I'll add the curry leaves and let them splutter for a minute, and then add this hot tadka to the ground chutney. And I will not mix it now. I will just close the lid really tight so all the flavors of the tadka get infused into the chutney. I'm going to mix it only before I serve the chutney. That's how your tadka will be crisp. Now the second chutney is the tomato and ginger chutney. So to this I have taken about 4 inches of ginger, like 2 large pieces, and then 2 tomatoes, and then 10 dry red chilies, 4 tablespoons of jaggery or gur, and then methi seeds, mustard seeds, cumin seeds, curry leaves, hing, oil, and I've also taken salt and turmeric powder. Now in a pan I'm going to add some oil, and once the oil is hot and smoking, that's when I'm going to add the fenugreek for methi seeds. See, after adding the methi seeds, I'll let them kind of change color. They change color very quickly, so make sure that the flame is on low. So after the methi seeds are fried, I'm going to add the ginger and the dry red chilies. We need to roast them on a very low flame because even the red chilies, they tend to burn very quickly. So we will fry them like until they all get even color. Even the ginger needs to get fried very well. So I'm going to turn each and every piece, like keep frying them by tossing them around. So once you see that the ginger pieces are fried pretty well, that's when you're going to add turmeric. So after adding turmeric, quickly mix it up and let the turmeric fry in the oil for a minute. And once you get the nice smell from the turmeric, you add the tomatoes. Now this ginger and the red chilies need to cook in the juices of the tomato. So we will let the tomato cook in by covering the lid for about 5 to 7 minutes. See, we just wait until the water releases. See, this is the first turn that the water has released a little bit, but the tomato needs to cook a little bit more. So I'm checking after 5 more minutes again, and now I think the tomatoes are good to go. And at this stage, I'm going to add in jaggery and salt. So I'm going to add the jaggery and salt here, and I'm going to switch off the flame, and I'm going to transfer it into a mixing jar. I'm going to grind it into a very smooth, like a silky smooth consistency. And after that, I'm also going to do the tadka. So I've added some oil. So I'm going to add in mustard seeds and let it dance for a couple of seconds, and then jeera. And once they dance together, that's when I'm going to add hing. So after adding hing, it's not going to take much time. Then add curry leaves immediately and let it splutter. So after the tadka is ready, I'm going to put this in the made ginger chutney, and as I'm ready to serve, I'm going to mix it now. And this is going to go very well with all your South Indian breakfast like idli, dosa or pongal, upma. So we had this for lunch today, and you also do try this recipe and tell me how you like it in the comments. Like, share and subscribe to Feel Good Factor. Have fun.